All right, what's up, everybody? This is Fantasy Isle, the fifth edition. My name is Nabate Isles, and it's always a pleasure to interview great individuals from the world of sports and basketball. This is the season now. It's the time. It's the playoffs. It's so unpredictable, and I have this gentleman here who is one of the bright minds, one of the great coaches to come around. Coach with the Memphis Grizzlies, coach with the New York Knicks, also was an assistant with the Miami Heat, winning 2 titles under Eric Spoelstra, and of course, Pat Riley, who ran that Heat Nation right there. So, and this man has done a lot also too for his community as well. We can't forget about that. So, and he's a great expert of the game. It is my pleasure to have Coach David Fizdale on Fantasy Isle. How are you, sir?
We finally got it going, huh? We finally got it together.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, sir. And I got to say, like, I always enjoyed our interactions when you were the Knicks coach, when I covered Knicks games, and you're always gracious. Also, too, we met at Mike Woodson's event during the Summer League.
That's right. Yeah, I was in Vegas. Yeah, Rudy does that great charity event out there every year.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Wow. But I want to ask you, sir, I mean, such a pleasure to have you on. And Fantasy Isle is powered by WinDailySports.com. So everyone make sure to check that site out. But Coach Fizdale, what are you up to? How you doing? And happy birthday too. You celebrated birthday last week. So happy birthday to you.
I'm doing fantastic. My wife and I birthdays are 6 days apart. I can't screw that up. So that's pretty good. It makes it easy for me. And it's just I got a 6-month-old son.
Congrats.
I got 5 dogs, and they keep me busy and happy and present. And it's been a real incredible experience on the backside of my last job, just as a man and a human being, just the growth that comes with what has happened in our world, what's happened in sports, what's happened in my personal life. You know, I've really tried to stay locked into being aware of everything around me. And it's really been a fun, joyful journey to go on, especially with my wife.
Yes, indeed. No doubt. And Coach, so are you, because I know you did some social activism things in Memphis, a lot of great stuff in the Memphis community. Also, of course, you're from Los Angeles, from South Central Los Angeles, and you've done some things for that community. So are you up to anything that you're doing now, in uplifting the youth that you've always done,
I try to speak to as many groups as I can. Much of it, most of the stuff I speak to the young people about is really understanding who they are, in this chaotic world that we live in. Don't let other people label you, define you. Don't get caught up in the noise of information. Even within your own culture, don't get over-identified to the point where you lose yourself in that and you're not just being a present human being. And so I'm speaking to a lot of kids about stuff like that. Obviously, I'm trying to do as much as I can to lend my voice to the social activism stuff from the standpoint of police justice and reform. Working with the Senate and obviously the Coaches Association on trying to get the Justice and Policing Act passed, the George Floyd Act passed. Trying to get this voting done. I mean, it's just so blatant. It's so blatant and sad to see what people will do for power and to hold their thumb on somebody else, thinking that that's actually keeping them in a position of happiness. They spend their whole life being miserable, trying to keep other people down, and then they look up and they die. It don't make sense to me. And so I just hope somehow that consciousness can start kind of being on the turn of our world and just our everyday lives, because right now people are unconscious. They are just in another world with the way that they're treating each other. I get on a plane the other day with my family. People are having a fit back there. We got to take the plane back to the gate because notifications are at an all-time high because everybody's so angry and caught up in their own little bubbles of information. And their cultures and their whatever you want to call it. And it's just eating us apart. It's tearing us apart. And so I'm really just trying to stay engaged in how do we continue to build a better world, or more open-minded, more conscious, more aware world. Because I got a 6-month-old son, and I don't want him coming up in the present chaos that we're seeing, gun violence at an all-time high, and white people and black people at each other's throats visibly, again, like we've never seen, people storming the Capitol. I mean, this stuff is wild.
Yep.
And blatant voter suppression, blatant voter suppression. And so, I'm just I want to be able to say one day, when I'm an old man to my grandkids, that I was in the fight, and I was trying to do what was right for, not just for black people. I think sometimes people get so caught up in it's not just for black people. It's against all hate. They slice us into these pies. Anti-Semitism, stop Asian hate, Black Lives Matter. Man, all that shit is hate.
At the end of the day, right. Yep.
Keep it trapped. It's all hate. And so when are we just gonna figure out that we're not a bunch of slices of pie? We are just one big pie, and we can't tolerate anybody being treated less than equal. And that's just where it's at. So that's where I'm at, brother. I didn't mean to preach too much, but that's my mindset right now. So
no, that's all right, sir. No, here with the great coach, David Fizdale. Yes, indeed. Here on the Fantasy Hour, the 5th edition. My name is Nabate Owls, and coach, that's a whole nother show. We could talk about that and really delve into it, for sure. Right. but now these NBA playoffs, I mean, we've never seen like, for example, like NBA champion. I don't think it's been this wide open since, I think since really 2006, really, when it was Miami and Dallas, 2 teams that no one expected to make the NBA finals, and that was before you were with Miami, actually. That was before, definitely. But talk about Coach Fizz, like what are things that you expected so far with these conference finals? What are 2 things that you expected to see that you've seen so far?
Nothing. I've been wrong about everything. I don't know
Okay, then what surprised you? What surprised you then? Because I was going to ask you that next, But
what has really surprised me is the absolute high level of play that Phoenix can sustain for such a young group. Monty has really given them just a real even tone of competitiveness. And I know Chris Paul is obviously the X factor. You got to have players. Don't get me wrong. That dude is special. But they did this, and I know the Clippers are hurt, but for them to beat the Clippers, twice without Chris Paul, and it's just that young group running around, that was impressive to me. And just the whole way that they've handled themselves throughout the playoffs. I mean, they've been dominant, not just good, they've been dominant. And so that probably has been the biggest surprise, pleasantly. I think the thing I've enjoyed the most is watching T. Lue coach. I think T. Lue's been doing just such a bang-up job with having to navigate. I mean, they were down 0-2 to Dallas, and they had home court. I mean, they won that series. That's hard to do.
Yeah, and trailing 3-2 in Game 6 in Dallas. Yep,
it's hard to do what he's getting his team to do, and so without Kawhi Leonard, for them to be in this position, and you might look up Clippers might win tonight because they've been through this a few times now, and they got such a tough-minded group. You don't know, but that's been really impressive to me. On the other side, the Bucks just they're just a bunch of just junkyard dogs, man. They just, it ain't pretty right now for them. And boy, I had to win ugly before. I've been, it's you winning is winning, and
that's right.
And so if you get it done how you got to get it done, and I've just been impressed with their fortitude and just will to just keep fighting, and they got to bounce here and there, but man, it's tough. You got to get those bounces, and you know, lastly, I said it, but man, the Atlanta Hawks.
Ooh, wow.
Oh,
With interim coach, interim, you know, Nate
yeah, but you know, Nate ain't gonna be no interim for long.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah.
Dinner is on Nate. That's what we're gonna say. Dinner is on Nate. Be all right. But it's just such an impressive just coming together, you know, to see it's what sport is about, you know, when you watch Atlanta. It's you root for that underdog, that team that no one expected, you know, the team that it was, I mean, Trae Young, MB was David Goliath as good as you can put it together, you know.
Yes.
And here we are, these kids say, you know what, that ain't enough. And they go in and they take game one. And so to see the confidence and the belief and the connection that they're playing with is really impressive. And you know, it's just the whole thing is because it's not predictable this year. It's not, you don't see LeBron. He ain't nowhere, you know, you so used to seeing him in the mix. The usual suspects in the East weren't there. We really expected Brooklyn to be here, but you know, bodies and injury, and that's what I said, a war of attrition. A lot of this will become, but under all of that uncertainty has just created such a great electric environment for the last stretch run here, and it's fun to watch.
Well, absolutely. And speaking of, you know, KD of the Brooklyn Nets and of course LeBron James with the Los Angeles Lakers, now everyone's talking about those are two of the best players in the league. LeBron has been the king, you know, literally King James for over a decade. So has KD passed him now as the best player in the league?
Man, I tell you, I just don't. I hate to do this to you and your listeners. I hate these comparisons. Like it's all based on like you said, at a certain point in time, maybe. What are you looking for? You know, if LeBron was healthy these playoffs, would we be saying that? I don't know. You know, everybody thought KD was cooked. And KD comes back and says, "No, I'm still here." And so I just,
you know who I am. You know who I am.
I think for all when you start getting into that discussion, it's almost pointless because they're all so great. It's so, I mean, you can't, you nitpick at this, and he does this, and he does this, and he's got this many rings, and then we all right, and we all wrong. So I just think that when we have such incredible greatness in front of us, sometimes we just need to stop and admire it, and just be happy that we got LeBron James and KD playing basketball in front of us, because you are talking about spectacular basketball players. I mean, you talking about, I mean, I can't explain when you out there with them, or when you coach one of them, or you watching something, I think Kyrie said it. And I know a lot of people don't agree with everything Kyrie says, but the one thing he said in one of his comments when he was fighting with the press, he said, "We're artists." And they really, to be able to do what any of them do, first off, because there's only so many people that can play in the league. But when you get to the elite level of it, the cream of the crop, you're really talking about guys manifesting stuff from nothing. And they can create out of nothing on the fly, beautiful things, and make things happen, to make masses of people stand on their feet and clap. I mean, and wow and marvel and make little kids copy them. And that's beautiful. So when you talk about comparisons, I don't know. And I don't care. I just like both of them, and I'm enjoying the battles they have, and the careers that they've built, and the stories that they've allowed us to be able to share, and all of these talks, you know. The arguments are great. I love to listen to them. I just don't like to get too deep into them because I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Kevin Durant has ripped my heart out so many times, and LeBron James, I owe him a lot of money for my life, and the success I've had. And so it's like, how do you pick? You know, it's all bias. You know, you got KD's group over here who's LeBron can't shoot from 500 feet. And,
right.
you know, and he ain't so. And then but LeBron gets triple doubles and
a great leader. Yeah, great leader.
And these this and you know, so apples and oranges, but it's all great.
That's right.
Yeah.
And wow, because Steve Kerr made a comment recently saying that he's more gifted than Mike. You know, Mike Jordan, like more gifted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Steve Kerr had front row seat to all of it.
You
know, I mean, think about it. He's 7 feet. He can touch the moon. He shoots over other 7-footers like they're not even standing there. He can dribble the ball like a guard. He can guard anybody. He blocks shots at the highest levels. I mean, some of that stuff is just God-given. Michael Jordan didn't have that range of body. You know, he has gifts of power and speed. But I mean, if you told Jordan, hey, man, I can give you 7 feet, and you can do the skill stuff that you do, Jordan be like, let's do it. Trade it in. So that's what he was saying. Like, look at what this guy was look at what God gave him right out the gate, you know, and the feathery touch. I mean, the guy can, the touch that goes along with the size is just incredible, and the amount of ground that he can cover with one dribble. You know, he crosses you over a half court. I've seen him cross people over at half court and never dribble again. And boom,
those strides. Yep.
7 feet. Like, come on, man. I mean, seriously, like it's so. And Steve Kerr has I always say this: a guy like Steve Kerr has a right to make those comments because he played and won next to one of them, and he coached and won next to the other one. And so, yeah, people can argue with Steve, but who's got a better perspective than him?
True that. So,
True that. I try not to get into the deep, comparisons when I don't have firsthand experience with certain guys. Like KD, I never coached KD. I got my ass kicked by him and I beat him a couple of times, but I never coached him. So I can't say, certain intimate things like LeBron. I can say certain things that make him spectacular and great, and that it's not many people going to be like him because I had intimate view, an intimate view of watching his body of work.
Especially at 2012 finals against KD,
and I'm telling you, thank God we caught them when we did. I mean, those kids, they was babies when we got them.
Yep.
But you look at them now, and these dudes have grown up into some. James Harden, MVP, KD, Russell Westbrook,
MVP and Mr. Triple
Dub. These dudes was players. These dudes is Hall of Famers. You talking about people that's gonna go into the room, and we caught them right when they were still young and crazy and figuring out who they are, and they still was dropping 40s in the finals. And Russell hit us. I think he hit us twice with 40 or something like that. Yeah. I mean, it was these dudes was relentless, But I just think they caught us at the wrong time because we had just suffered losing to Dallas, and we was just it was no. I hate to cuss on your show, but there wasn't no fucking way we was letting one. Just like, and on the flip side of it, there's no fucking way San Antonio was letting us beat them the last finals. There's so much pain. There was so much pain there. So much pain there. And then you just get this mindset that it's just, you gotta suffer. I'm not feeling that again. So, we caught them boys right on time.
That's right. Timing is everything.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well, here with Coach David Fizdale on Fantasy Hour, powered by Win Daily Sports, the 5th edition. My name is Nabatel. So, Coach, which coach is the best coach that you've been against when it comes to X's and O's? When you play chess and you're like, God, this cat's like Bobby Fischer.
That's what we call popping the Spurs. That was our internal. What we was battling was somebody that you just can't play chess with them. You couldn't. You can't play chess against a team that passes the ball without looking, and the guy knows to be in that spot, and he's meeting the ball there every time on time perfectly. Like their execution, and it was incredible to say the least. But Pop is obviously the cream of the crop. But it's so many, dude. I mean, good grief. Rick Carlisle's a nightmare to coach against.
Ooh, that's my guy, jazz pianist too. He's jazz fan, jazz music. Sure.
And you obviously already mentioned T. Lue, but you see how he can mess with you and do some different stuff. And I don't think he gets enough credit for being the championship coach that he is. Before Brad decided to bail and go front office on us, Brad was a nightmare X's and O's wise to prepare for. Quinn Snyder.
Yeah. But Coach Quinn had a tough end of that series. My goodness. Wow.
Listen, man, you run into the wrong team at the wrong time, and Utah's kryptonite, I always thought their kryptonite was speed. And you would think the injury to Kawhi Leonard was going to hurt the Clippers, but they ended up putting faster guys on the court, faster than Kawhi. Terrence Mann is a little guard, not a little guard, but he's a quick, pesky, fast off the dribble, and that just added more speed to the floor. They were playing Reggie Jackson, Patrick Beverly, Terrence Mann. So it's just they ran into the wrong matchup. And then Paul George is a great athlete at that position. And so I think Bogdanovich and Joe Ingles and all of those guys struggled.
And Mitchell and Conley were hurt. Mitchell and Conley were hurt too.
That's why you beat me to it. That's exactly right. Those two dudes are banged up, so their wheel's not working. The other guys aren't necessarily quick guys in general. And so trying to get by people that's quicker than you and trying to defend people that's quicker than you, that's a tough matchup. And I think, and then now you talk about what we was talking about earlier. It's really tough for a 7-foot big that doesn't space the floor. As great as a defender as Rudy is throughout the year, it gets tough and it gets to a point where you may have to sit that dude down.
Yeah.
And it's a tough decision because he's the defensive player of the year. He's, but it just, you saw what happened. What did Terrence Mann do when Rudy Gobert was out there trying to close out on all of those small guys? Went by him, dunking on them. Because it's a tough, he was out there playing, not out of position, but he was having to play against people that you got to close out. You got to get 23 feet away from the rim, and now it's a foot race to the rim. You're not going to win that race as if you Rudy Gobert. So that was the tough spot for Utah, from that standpoint. And that's just what ends up happening. But, it's a lot of coaches that just have great X's and O's. And we all steal from each other. We all influence each other. Some guys, it's beauty in their simplicity. I always thought that about Nate's teams. Nate, not simple from the standpoint of easy, but just they would use a simple situation over and over and over again and beat you down until you can figure out how to stop it. A pick and roll with just one guy on the weak side that could shoot. And if you don't figure out how to get that ball sent somewhere else, you're gonna be giving up threes and layups all night. And Nate gonna chop at you. Nate he gonna pick at you like a scab.
Yeah, and that's how he was as a player with Seattle. Everything.
His personality is personified in his coaching for sure. And I used to look up to Nate as a player, and now I look up to him as a coach and admire him greatly as a coach. And he goes about it with a real grace and disposition that I really appreciate. And so he's a nightmare. I tell you right now, X's and O's wise, who is off the charts is Monty. Monty Williams is putting some stuff on the floor. I'm watching his games. I'm having to pause it, run it back, write the play down, put it in the folder.
That's right. Because when you get your coaching job,
I'm stealing all of that shit. Give me all of that. But he is a plethora of great. You see it. Look at the stuff he ran to win the game. Look at, the shots. He got shots for the kid Bridges off of the play run all the time, where they backpick the big in the pick and roll.
Yep.
And instead of rolling Ayton, he rolled and pinned down on Bridges, and Bridges' man got caught flat-footed because he thought he was rolling and he was getting screened. Bridges comes off, hits a big shot. And T. Lue ended up running a play next time down for what's the lefty kid? The white kid.
Luke Kennard. Luke
Kennard ran a nice little catch and shoot coming back for him, and it was just like a tit for tat. I was copying all of that stuff, but really, man, it's some good. Like I sit back and I watch. I marvel at all of these guys. I tell you who else is really good is Terry Stotts.
Oh yeah.
And if I'm leaving anybody out, it's stupid because I'm telling you, these dudes, there's 30 of us in the world, and you're good if you, like it'll be guys that I'll say on here that aren't working right now, and you go, really? Ryan Saunders, spectacular X's and O's coach. He hasn't necessarily gotten to show it with a team that's together and ready, but Ryan Saunders is a headache to coach against. Scott Brooks, a headache to coach against. But these guys are out of work now. And that just goes to show you how finicky this game is, and the volatility of the coaching industry. And there's a lot of people on social media, they're bums. He don't know what he's talking about. And I get that. That's fine. But you ain't got to go in that war room and spend all those hours watching that film and watching the team do this stuff over and over and over and go, damn, that's really good. Like, how's he getting them to do that over and over and over again? The consistency of Scott Brooks' running game. Whew, man, they come at you just fast over and over. Ish Smith, Russell Westbrook, Bill, just full speed over and over and over and over. And to get them to do that that's X's and O's. That's a system. That's something he's really getting them to commit to do, And so, talking about Steve Kerr. I could go all day, man. Steve Kerr, I watch him practice and I'm watching him go through this stuff, and I'm just like, oh, that is beautiful. Woo. Look at that. Look at this out of bounds play. Look at this he's doing. Look at that he's doing. And then the results on the court, obviously, is championship rings, and everybody thinks, they got all the talent. But, man, you still got to manage and organize and get that talent to execute and share and do all of that.
Trust you.
Huge trust deals. And and then obviously I'm biased with Spo, but Spo's gonna go in the Hall of Fame.
For sure.
I'll be sitting there watching my man go in, and it'll be a joyful day because his teams execute. They really do. So I can sit here all day, man. But I would say just the legend himself has always been the one that kept us up the most because we played against him twice in the finals. Is Pop. And Rick Carlisle just ran us around like crazy people in the finals. So those two dudes I still have bad dreams about those games.
And speaking of Rick Carlisle, he just signed with Indiana, going back to Indiana to the Pacers, and he was there from people forget he was there from 03 to 07 and everything, and it's a shame because I think that Pacer team could have won the title, that 05-06 Pacer team.
Good.
That 04-05, excuse me, when the Dallas and the Palace happened, and they were putting it on Detroit in that game, and really Rick Carlisle could have won his title before Dallas, right there.
They were really good.
Ron and Jermaine O'Neal and Reggie was in his last season. Steven Jackson too. Yes.
But I could go down the line. That team has so much talent and toughness, and they were so well coached. And I mean, Rick's had an incredible run.
Yeah.
With the Dallas thing, sometimes things just have to come to an end. But you look at the body of work that they put together.
That's right.
Stability.
All that stability.
It's really impressive. And look, they were good before he got there. Quite honestly, I don't want to discount
Avery Johnson.
Avery Johnson coached that team to the finals, man. And
Don Nelson before that.
I mean, they've always been a skilled franchise who really values skill, shooting, IQ, understanding how to play. And Rick really maximized all that. He really built them a systematic way to do it over the long haul. And especially it's always tough when you're losing a star, you're trying to bring a star along, and Dirk was retiring, here comes Luka, and you got a whole different position you coaching and trying to figure out and stuff. And so his body of work is spectacular. He's going to do a great job with what they have. If that Indiana team could just be healthy.
Yes.
They had them.
And And Karis LeVert, this is the time for him to be healthy fully. I mean, they got LeVert, Sabonis, who I think is one of the most talented players, and Brogdon, and Miles Turner in the middle.
I don't know if they're gonna be able to. If they sign him back or not, maybe is T.J. Warren, right? Is still.
That's right. He missed the season. He's going to be coming back. Yeah, you got T.J. Warren too. Yeah, and then Avery. Then you got that young Holiday, Aaron Holiday. You know,
those are nice pieces, and you know, like I said, Rick knows what he's doing, and he knows how to put it together, and you know, this will be. You know, the game would have been. It's no way that he can't be coaching in the game because he's right now he's at the top of the heap. There's only so many championship coaches that's still doing. Another one that I didn't mention, Nick Nurse. He's a pain in the ass.
That's right.
Man, I can go on forever. Tibbs took over New York. He's a headache to coach against. I mean, I can go forever with these dudes, man. They just all have their own touch in ways that they create. You know, from an X's and O's standpoint and how they build their teams. And it's all, you know, like it's truly a way of saying it's more than one way to skin a cat. You know? People always bashing Bud. So many people copy Bud's offense. It's hilarious, but people bash his offense. And it's just like, I get it. It's been looking rough. But man, it's gotten Giannis. How many? It's gotten Giannis MVP. I mean, it's a lot of. It's just
Chris Middleton, max money. You know, Drew Holiday. Yeah, you know,
it's still pretty good for some guys. And so, you know, it's easy to say that stuff when you see. Again, you can always be right. As soon as it looks bad, oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. You know, it's looking great. All this guy's the best. He's coach of the year twice. He's coach of the year twice. Yeah, his offense stinks. He can't coach. You got to. If they don't win the series, he's fired. I love it. It's just craziness, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, coaching roulette. You know,
that's the world we choose this business. They know what it's the Godfather. This is the business we've chosen.
That's right. That's right. And just like he said it when Michael Corleone in Godfather 3, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Pull me back in, baby. You can't get away from it.
Yes, indeed. That was the only good part of that movie, by the way, because it was not compared to 1 and 2. No comparison. But anyway, that's all another thing. But well, Coach Fizdale, wanted to ask you, Becky Hammon seems like she's a major candidate for a couple of coaching slots. How special would that be for Becky Hammon to be the first woman to coach a National Basketball Association team? Amazing, right?
It would be a great honor, and I think it'd be groundbreaking. And it's going to happen. It's coming. I know a lot of my women colleagues who are great coaches, and she's one of them. And she's talented, and she's prepared, and guys respect her. And I don't know when, if it's going to happen this off season but he's knocking on that door. It's a lot like, you know, it happens when it happens. You know, I think about Ime, and he's been knocking on the door for 5 years, 6 years, interviewing. No. And the right job at the right time, boom.
That's right.
He's in Boston. He's got talent. He's got a coach in the front office. That's a heck of a plus for him. You know, but it comes in time, and her time is definitely coming very soon. Yes, and it'll be great for young women. It's great for, you know, just underrepresented people in general. You know, it'll be great for them to see, like, you just got to keep knocking at it. And, you know, if you're good enough at what you do, it'll happen for you.
No question. And Coach Fizdale, there's 5 openings for, 5 openings. There's Portland now. There's Portland, there's New Orleans, there's Orlando. There's 2 others. Let me see. There's Orlando. Washington Wizards, because Scott Brooks is no longer there. And then the other gig is the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah, obviously. So which gig is the best gig that Coach Fizdale would want to do? What would be the game? You know what I mean? Like,
I need a job, period. I don't know if I couldn't do. I'm standing on the highway right now with a sign. Are you kidding me? I'm looking for a job.
You seem like you're doing all right though.
All unique situations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with talent. I mean, you got Zion down there in New Orleans, who was a freak of nature, and
That's
Brandon
right.
Ingram has figured out how to become. Again, here's a Brandon Ingram as a guy that people said, oh, he might. Now they're like, damn, this dude is serious business. He's a nightmare. We got Luka, who's I think right now the best player playing night in, night out. He does, I think, just his contributions to his team every day. I got him at the top of the game right now and just getting better. I really do. The stuff he was doing. Because he's not just hitting big shots like Durant over the top bombs. He's getting 17 assists. He's getting 14 rebounds. He's doing that like all the time. Like, you know, just and the way he's doing it is beautiful. And you can't speed him up. And he just has a real air about him that I just think this kid is special, you know. And then you got, who else are we missing? Who am I missing?
Orlando, Washington.
Orlando's in a total rebuild, right? Total, they're ready to start from scratch, total rebuild. But I just felt like that was for where they were at treading. They were treading water, kind of just in that in and out of the playoff spot. I think it was the right
purgatory.
And it's not easy to make that call because you can just easily get caught up with being the AC, and then it's like. But I think the move they made was the right move, and it sounds like they're looking for a young assistant.
Yeah.
Up and comer, and there's some talent. I can run through a list of them here that are just phenomenal, that I'm friends with, that I really love and respect. Portland is obviously good grief. I mean,
Dame
McCullough. I mean, to coach with them, it's like you get a sideline, you get a front row seat to like.
When it comes to artistry, it's popcorn. Like, let me get the popcorn.
I mean, Dame does stuff like he truly does video game stuff, right? Like real, like was this is like I watch him and I'm just like, he didn't just do that. He didn't just take that shot and make it, and then his face didn't change, and it was like I planned it, and it was just like. So you got, all of that that talent and that great fan base up there. And so I just think all of the jobs have different elements that are good situations for coaches, depending on what that team wants. Guys that's out of work can't never be like, oh, that's the job for me. That's the only job I want. No, it's 30 jobs, and it's very few times that your name is in that discussion. And so you gotta get in and you get in and get it while the getting's good, and I mean, I didn't even mention James Borrego. Good grief! Now what?
With the Hornets, yeah. I mean, oh my God, they're going to be a real problem next season. A real problem. They got finishers, they got ball handlers, diverse players. Oh my goodness, yeah.
Good basketball team. He's coaching the hell out of them, and he's
right.
James and I share our alma mater. University of San Diego. That's
okay. Yeah. WCC.
Yeah, he's a spectacular coach. He is just so fun. I've just been sitting back watching him and just smiling, and it's like this dude is, not only is he culturally breaking barriers, but I'm sitting here watching this dude that I've known for 30 years just put together a really solid basketball team. And a fun basketball team with oh my God, ball is any fun to watch. It's just fun to watch. It's like it really is the entertainment of the passes and
that's right.
And we're just so young, and it's like, damn, how does he know how to do this at this age against all grown men? And he just, I feel like he belongs, and I just think that's a perfect marriage, those two. Not to get off track. I just keep thinking of these coaches about X's and O coaches, and I'm just like, I can go through the whole league, and I can tell you all kind of good stuff about each of them because they all bring a certain element of pain to your life as an opponent. Dwayne Casey is a pain in the ass
That's right. He
It
about
was
to get
funny
that
how
first
people
pick,
talk
that
about it.
first pick now. He about to get that first pick too.
That's great for them. That's
Detroit.
great for the city of Detroit. It's great for them, And so, you can keep going down the line of these teams, and it's just so much talent in these coaches and coaching staffs. It's just, if you could be a fly on the wall, you would be blown away at the discussions in those rooms and the basketball intellect that lists some of these coaching staffs.
No doubt. And speaking of a talented coach, Mark Jackson, why hasn't he got an opportunity? I just wonder, like.
Your ass is better than mine. I don't know what he was supposed to do with the team that he had, but I tell you what, he did pretty damn good with them. Mark is a tough one for me because I literally like idolized Mark as a kid, and so I was a slow light skinned point guard just like him, long arms, crafty, all of the good stuff, and I watched so much film on him when he played college ball, his program.
And I'm a Queens name. I grew up in Queens, so
and people don't look at his body of work as a player. It's incredible. The numbers that he put on the stat sheet, and you look at his body of work as a coach, and you just can't tell me this guy. And it's hard because there's 30 guys holding the jobs that all are deserving. I feel. So it's hard, but you can't tell me he ain't good enough or shouldn't have gotten one since he was fired at Golden State. That to me is mind blowing, and it will be a real shame if he doesn't get one in the near future or if ever, because that would you're talking about a guy who figured out the game on the court in a way where he transcended athleticism. He transcended not being the fastest. He transcended not being the highest jumper. I look at Chris Mullins that way. Guys that still became great, but they didn't have all of this natural ability that everybody else had. So their mind was the gift. And for that mind not to be teaching players is that's weird. It's damn near basketball sacrilegion, And I feel that way about his counterpart, Jeff Van Gundy. Like, how is Jeff Van Gundy not a coach?
That's right.
His record, his pedigree, I don't know. I think sometimes people get a little, they're strong personalities. They have a view of how things should be done. I think sometimes maybe front office may get intimidated by that because sometimes that kind of understanding can be scary for people, especially if you're paranoid about your own position. That happens in our business, and but I don't know. Both of those guys to me are just their body of work is fantastic. That's all I can say. Their body of work is fantastic. What else is there that you gonna hire them for? They're to do the job, and they've done the job when they've gotten a chance. So I don't know what's holding that up now.
Wow. No doubt. Here with Coach David Fizdale here on Fantasy Owl, powered by WinDailySports.com, 5th edition of Fantasy Owl. I'm the Bate Owls. And Coach, now a couple more questions for you. The Knicks had a great run this season, now can they get that because they have that cap room? Can they get that superstar? Can they pull a trade? Can they be because they need a superstar to come in?
I don't know, but I'll tell you what.
Or a great number one option. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if it happens this year or not, but the bottom line is they back in the winning column, and they're in position with a ton of. Scott Perry did such a good job when I was there, and Steve Mills as well, of creating the space that you're looking at right now. Right, everybody killed them over. We didn't get KD, we didn't, and then all you signed was these journeymen, but some of those journeymen hit. And now they're looking at, okay, Julius Randle is a hit, right? This dude he's there. Reggie Bullock is a hit. These guys, certain guys that's done well in their program out of that crop. All of them didn't stay.
Taj Gibson too.
Right. And Taj is just that, he's that anchor. You know, that anchor's at Tom Thibodeau's right-hand dude in Chicago. He was an anchor there. Now he's an anchor with him there. And so they set it up. And now, you know, with Leon and them coming in, Tibbs and them coming in, and they coming off a playoff run. Maybe if you hit, great. Yeah, I think it'd be awesome. But if you don't, it's not the end of the world, and you don't need to panic or make a bad decision or sign a bad contract. They're in such a good position, an advantageous position to keep building the team. You know, the key is continuing to build the team with understanding this is what Coach Tibbs needs, and you know, keep filling those needs, even if it's not per se something glamorous. But it may be effective and efficient, and it's getting the job done, and it might save you some money, you know, and you continue to be able to build the team financially in a smart way. And so I think they're in a great position if they don't get the big fish, you know, but if they do, I would be so happy for them, because the city, I love that place because the electricity of the place and how much they really, really support and care about the team. And it's really, you feel it, dude. Like, you feel it. It is such an amazing feeling. You know, we did a thing at Rucker Park, and it was just like tingling. You know, you tingle if you're a basketball person, because you're just like, this is Rucker Park. You know, and this is the Knicks. I'm with the Knicks, and this is Rucker Park, and this is the Garden. This is basketball heaven, you know, and this is Bernard King at my practice, or Senator Bill Bradley hanging out with me, and Walt Frazier is here. And it's just like, wow, you know. And so to be able to see what they did this year, for Julius Randle to do what he did, and for them to now go into this next year with that much money, I think it's just such a great situation. And like I said, I want to give Leon and all of them a lot of credit, because they have done a great job. But I think sometimes when people get fired or things don't go perfectly, people always say, oh, them people screwed it up. Scott Perry and Steve Mills did a fantastic job of setting this team's future up. And, you know, everybody thought it was like, oh, KD and them going away and it's the end of the world. But they so caught up in that moment, they didn't realize they were trying to set it up so that, look, maybe we don't hit the home run right now, but over time, maybe we can get to that place. And I just think sometimes people are so easy to, because again, they want to be right. They're so easy to blame and discard people, but they don't realize that, you know, these people did things a while ago to get this to where it's at right now. And you know, I just think it's really coming together for them, and it's exciting.
Yes, and Scott Perry's good that he's still there with them too. You know, like he's
that
bridge.
Yeah, and it's funny, man. Like, I remember saying to him on my way out the door, because they had to tell me the bad news, obviously. And, you know, that's not easy. You come in there with the right, you know, intentions to win and do all that stuff together. And I just looked at him and said to him on my way out the door, I said, y'all got to get this thing to the finish line. I said, because I'll be damned that none of us are standing when this thing is right. Like, you know, I know y'all got to tell me bad news right now, and I got to go, but somebody got to make it to the end. So thank God Scott Perry got to see the fruits of his labor. You know, it obviously haunts me that Steve Mills isn't employed. That's my man, and I love him.
Yeah, great individual.
I hate to see people get. Yeah, I just, you know, the hard part of our business is you see people get fired, and as a coach, you shoulder it, because you always think, damn, maybe if I'd have just did this, maybe he'd still be working, or maybe this guy. But that's the business, you know. But I'm just happy to see the team doing what they're doing, and I'm happy that Scott Perry is getting, you know, I hope that people are recognizing that what he did was really great GMing, and that he's getting that credit for the moves that he made.
No question. And sir, 2 more questions for you. Take that for data. Did you get a trademark? Because, you know, your mentor, Pat Riley, got 3-peat trademarks. So did you take that for data trademark?
I have to be honest with you. My wife did. I didn't care. And my wife was like, yeah, I'm in the social media world. I'm in marketing. I'm in branding. She's like, we're not letting that one go. She's like, somebody wants to use that. They got to pay. unfortunately, no one cares to use it. But
you never know.
My wife made some T-shirts out of it, and sent it to our friends and stuff like that as a joke. And they have anytime we want to mess with our friends or something, we use the quotes to screw with them.
That's right, and that was coincidentally against the Spurs. That series against the Spurs. Yeah. You talk about Pop, like when you use that. It was a game 2 post game press conference. Game 2.
I was a desperate man. I was down 2 to the great Pop, and I was like, I got to get every advantage I can. So I didn't plan all of the words that I said, but it was definitely. I needed to try to change the tide and motivate my team. So it got me a little more time. It got us to 2-2, but they were the number 2 team in the league that year. They won plus 60+ games, man. They were so good.
That's right.
That was going to be, especially without my main man, Tony Allen. He was hurt. I had some kids guarding. I had a young James Ennis and a young Wayne Selden trying to guard Kawhi Leonard. It was tough. And they was busting their hump trying to stop him, but he's just so great, You told me, and there was a point in Game 6 where he just decided the game was over. About 2 minutes was left and he just said, "All right, I'm done playing around with Memphis. We're gonna move on, and thanks for your time." Yeah, he took over the game, like literally 2-3 steals, an and one, hit a 3, and it was like, okay, game over, boom. And I was just like, "That's it." Like I couldn't even call a timeout fast enough to stop the bleed. He went off so fast. But that's the greatness of Kawhi Leonard. You talking about? He is special, and man, he is. It sucks to see him hurt.
Yeah, it really does.
I don't know if it's something to what LeBron said about the injuries, but where the quick turnaround may be affecting guys. No, there may be something to it because a lot of guys did get hurt this year. A lot of star power was out late in the year.
Yeah, for sure. And it was so funny. Speaking of Kawhi, that was the same postseason when Kawhi got his ankle turned as well, and that was tough because that series could have been different with Golden State because Kawhi, those first 2.5 quarters was going off. He was
It's always that's what I'm saying. Injuries is the huge game changer a lot of times. This the thing about Golden State, even without KD, was still in the fight until Klay Thompson blew his knee against Toronto.
That's right.
They were right there to push that series, and Klay Thompson's injury was the end of that. That's how this thing works, man. And this year more than ever, I'm telling you, this is the war of attrition. The healthiest team, I believe, will be the team standing at the end. It's just because it's just you need those bodies right now. You need health right now, and that's why I said Phoenix is. If Chris Paul, obviously the COVID thing got in the way, but now he's back. If they can stay healthy, they're dangerous, man. They are.
Ooh, for sure.
Devin Booker scored 70 in a game. Remember that? I think sometimes we forget. So that's who we dealing with here. Is this dude is trying to show people this is his moment to tell everybody he's the best player in the league.
True that.
He deeply believes that in his heart that he is the best player in the NBA. And he's showing it every night he steps on the court. He's like, you need a game winner? I'm here. You need 30, you need 40, I got you. And he's just he's just going at it that way. I'm not saying he is or he ain't. I just know that look.
That's right.
I know
Mamba
that
mentality. Be legendary. Just like Mamba,
The kid out in Atlanta got it right now. He looks like he can be stopped. He doesn't see anything in front of him that makes him think that he can be slowed down.
That's right.
He really doesn't. He's looking at. You can see it in his body language.
And that shimmy, you know what I mean?
That's a playground thing. Like when you're not worried about nothing, you take your time and you're too far away. Let me shimmy you in.
It would be funny if he did like the Randolph, like get up, come on.
See, most people don't know that Randolph Childress. I don't know what your age groups are, but most people wouldn't know that.
Randolph. They don't know. He
such a talent. Wake Forest.
That's right. That's right. You know, but and Duncan,
No,
when Duncan was a freshman, that was when Duncan's freshman year, I believe. Yeah,
this
so
Duncan played college basketball. It was
that's
so long
right.
ago.
And
That dude,
yeah, no
man,
doubt. And Coach Fitz, well, and Coach Fizdale, one more thing, brother. Thank you so much for being on Fantasy Hour. I mean, wow, you've given us knowledge and wisdom, and you've
oh
dropped it
man,
for
no
sure.
problem, brother.
Absolutely. And one other thing, there's a two-time Academy Award winner that was on in the WCC conference as well, played for St. Mary's by the name of Mahershala Gilmore, who's now Mahershala Ali. So what type of baller was because you guys were the same
We
class.
played against each other. No,
That's
we played
right.
against each other.
Exactly. When you were at San Diego.
Wow. Damn, I didn't know that was that who. I didn't realize he changed his name.
That's right, Mahershala Ali. Yeah, because I talked to Lloyd Pierce about it on my podcast, Where They At, and Lloyd Pierce, you know, he was at Santa Clara, you know, a little younger than you and Mahershala, but yep, yeah, he talked to
I
Mahershala.
played against Lloyd, and Lloyd when Lloyd was with Steve Nash,
Mm-hmm.
and that asshole caught a lob behind me and dunked on me.
Oh, Lloyd.
Lloyd Pierce caught me on the lob. Steve Nash reeled me in. And I didn't realize Lloyd was cutting behind me, and he threw it up, and I backed up, and Lloyd just changed it. Damn, he always gonna have that on me, you know.
Wow.
Gonna have it on.
Wow, but what type of player was Mahershala Ali at that time? Because
Tough, physical, good athlete, could guard. They were a good basketball team, you know. They had my boy Cameron Silphy was the point guard. They had big continent. Brad Millard was the big up there. Remember, they made the tournament. Remember that team made the tournament?
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, he could play. Yeah, he can hoop. I'm telling you, we had some good players in that conference, man. I mean, I like to brag and say, you know, we had a 2-time MVP in our conference, bro. We had Steve Nash, so we wasn't too shabby. And now we got #1 team in the country, Gonzaga, in our conference. So
and
they done built a monster up there.
I mean, the recruiting class they got. Oh Lord,
they got my man in Michigan ain't playing either though.
Jawan, that's right. You and him both in the same staff with Miami. Yep.
Man, he is. I idolize Juwan Howard. I aspire to be Juwan Howard. That's how great he is. He's gonna have a hell of a team. I can't wait to watch those guys. That's gonna be
doubt.
College basketball is getting fun again.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely. And now with all the changes of what's going on too, with athletes being able to be proper.
It's crazy though.
That's
crazy. I've never heard of nothing like that before ever. Like this, like free agency right now. Like I talked to my college buddies and they like, man, it's the Wild West out here. These kids transfer left or right. They like they don't even have to tell us. They don't even have to tell the coach that they transfer. They can just go into the compliance office and be like, look, I'm transferring. And then show back up to practice the next day and that's it. The coach looks in the portal and he's like, I'm losing my star. That's just
yeah.
I don't know. All of this stuff, I sit back, I watch it, man. I just smile.
Yes, indeed. Times are changing, you know.
And we just gotta go with it.
Change gonna come, like Sam Cooke says, always. You know?
Resistance is futile.
That's right.
Is futile. So, yeah.
Wow. But Mr. David Fizdale, pleasure and hope to see you be able to lead an NBA team once again, because you deserve to have an opportunity and have an opportunity to be able to make your own squad and develop your squad, you know, for sure, you know, and have the players you can develop, because you definitely know how to develop young talent. Thank you so much for being on Fantasy Hour. Good to talk with you. And I'll tell Khalil and Sam Barsh, my boys, my fellow musicians, I'll tell DJ Khalil and Sam Barsh that you said what's up, you know, because I know you
little kids, brother. That's my dog since I was a little kid.
That's right, the great producer. Yes, indeed.
Dude, think about that. This dude has got Grammys.
That's right.
This dude got plaques. We used to be in the gym, little kids running around, whooping our faces off, running around Wall Hazard's house playing hide go seek and tag, and I mean, it's great memories with that family. I love those guys. Toots all of them.
Ooh, yes, indeed. And Sam Barsh, who plays keys when that was a producer for my album, and stuff
Is
like
that
that.
right?
Yeah, so it's
So
all
that's your connection to the whole.
that's right. I'm a
Oh,
professional trumpet player too. Yeah, yeah. So
there it
absolutely. So,
is.
yeah.
That's awesome. There
No
it is.
doubt. Wow. But Coach David Fizdale, my pleasure, sir. And we will be in touch. Thank you for being on Fantasy. I appreciate you, my friend.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Yes, see. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed.